Hi, I'm Professor Stephanie, and we are again going to render an image with a sofa. This time we've got some accessories in there, and we're going to play around with the wall covering also. So we're still going to be looking for different patterns, and again, we're going to find that vanishing point the same way we did before. You can see I've got my this line I made here on the edge of the arm of the sofa. I came up with a vanishing point. This time I had to estimate where the back of the sofa was, so that I'm going to work with a 1/2 inch pattern across, and I am working with a smaller image than you are, so you're going to have more stripes than I have, and you can see that I've gone from the vanishing point to get this around here, and so that gives me my pattern there. And then the pillows, we'll talk about the pillows a little bit. We're going to play around with that too to give us a variety of pattern. This time I'm interested in you working your image, your rendering, to be more of an analogous color scheme where we'll stay in an area that's fairly close in the color wheel. I'm actually going to work with lots of browns, but you can see there's a red brown, there's a brown, there's more of a yellow orange brown, and I could pop some orange in there for highlights if I wanted to, but I'm asking you to stay close this time. We're not jumping across the wheel, we're not going 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Stay very close, and if you can, you know, theoretically, realistically, having a sofa that's in the very neutral hues would be practical. So that's the direction that I am suggesting that you go in this time. All right, so similar idea of creating a pattern with your the hues that you're choosing. I'm actually going to move and have that the orange brown be the center of the stripe. So I'm going to go ahead right where my pencil is, and notice I'm making just a little bit of a scoop here. We try to give the eye some signals on what's going on, and that helps. With the shapes will help to make the eye recognize that there's a little bit of a difference. I'm taking the lighter brown, the E33. I'm going to put it both sides. So this is a little different stripe. So again, I'm moving kind of quickly. I'm not paying attention to the details very well. So hopefully that's something you'll do a good job on. And then I think I'm taking this darker one, or maybe I'll take, I chickened out. As you can see, I tend to work in the lighter values. So here's my combination. Again, I'm really letting this stroke come from the vanishing point. So I'm staying in the direction of that 1-point perspective. Great. Okay. So I can also, you might want to add another stripe in here. See how that works out for you. Yipes. Don't lock my hand here. Okay. Great. Again, working in the direction of where that vantage point is coming from. Great. All right. The other idea I had for this activity is to pull out your pencils and see if you want to experiment with the idea of a pencil on top of the marker. This is a terrific place to add texture. You can texture to me in a rendering makes it more exciting, more interesting. I have just taken a hue that's fairly close to the one that I'm working on top of. I'm going in the same direction, although you could and again, there's some different things you can do if you're actually looking at a fabric. you may get inspiration, or it's like a jumping off point for you, or some ideas around that. So here's a chance to use your pencil. The other interesting thing might be is to take your fine line marker and see if you'd like to add, because the thing is, each one of our images that we're working with does have black line. We've already got that black line in there. Sometimes it's nice to repeat it. Notice I'm just dashing here, and I might even pause, go ahead and do some other things and come back to it and add back. Again, this might be a chance to play around with the other tools that you've got, your color pencils and your line pencils. Okay, pillow-wise, I'm kind of quickly going to show you a couple of ideas I like to work with that you've seen before. Here's this curved stripe, crisscross, and you can even put dots in it, and I think you'll even find, somehow I feel like I need something like here. Oh well. Put dots in there too. So that's one. We can do kind of a crisscross of a curve in a stripe. That's a fun way to get a different pattern. Oh, there's also the button. Now, I'm not changing my marker hue, but you certainly can. You can also work with a very tight stripe. I'm just giving you some different pattern ideas, and if you'll do an online search, it'll certainly help you with some ideas. Here's sort of a polka dot flavor. You can elaborate on that a little bit. So yes, you would add the other. I'm going to stay pretty close to what my sofa is all about. There's my little button. I could even emphasize that button here. This is an easy way to, here's our stripe. And you can come back in with, I didn't play too much with this darker. Whew, it's really dark. Okay. So now that I've done that, I've got to come back in with some darker. Use this again. I've got some other areas here where I could use this. It can't just sit alone in there, that little pattern. Okay. So I'll let you play around with that. There's one other thing I wanted to definitely show you, and that is taking three pastels, very light. Now this Y21 to me is too dark. Oh, I know. There's the three that I have pulled out, and I want to show you something that I've done with a wall covering. And again, I'm working with the lightest hues that I have. I think you can go off a little bit from the analogous. Again, you may not have a lot of choices of color, but I want you to be sure that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the wedge instead of the brush. And again, you might see how this works with you. Those of you that have chart pack, I think you can manipulate your marker so that you're getting a little bit of a point or sometimes a wedge. And we're going to work with a horizontal, and we're going to think of this like a wall covering. That's actually VG90. Here comes violet. And if the pattern is random, and I'm going to add this yellow, I think it's going to blow everything out of the water, because it's going to be, what happens with yellow is the first hue that your eye sees, and so that's just going to be like buzzing back there. So it might be interesting to try your marker, see if you've got, now I know I don't have any purple violet, and it's actually sort of in here, and maybe I could add that back. Maybe there's some of this can, so you've got some other areas to play with. Now I just created a little complimentary story there. Just to repeat that, I'm going to go back to here, and I might even be able to, I'm just going to go over the whole thing. What I call push this back. So by adding these new hues in here, you can see I'm going to have to bring some of that back into the accessories. And I'll also want to be careful to have the accessories also repeat from the sofa. So your goal as you're working with these accessories, and this is the way you would work anyway, if you were putting accessories in a room, you wouldn't necessarily plop down accessories that don't make any sense as far as fitting in. Now they may be highlights, and yet I'm sort of asking you to be very careful about not getting too exotic. So you can see how that can be very helpful. All right, that is not working out so badly now that I step back. I might even add some yellow back into here. You see I sort of got discouraged and stopped. But this is another way for you to add a little bit of pattern. Since we added, you gotta get an image, you gotta get some artwork up here. You're welcome to measure this. This is a back wall that even with a 1-point perspective, you can measure it. What might happen, what I would do here is, since I've got my fine line marker pretty dark right there, probably would bring that back. I've got some terrific wood tones in here that can pop up into there. You want to be very, very neutral with, I think I've mentioned this before, lampshades. That is not going to be a hue. I don't want to see that be violet. That would be, it's very distracting to me. Sometimes there's a little bit of a light highlight up in the corner, so you can certainly do that easily with a marker. That was my BG 90. Good. Well, this will get you started. Again, try to work on an analogous color scheme as best you can. Let's not get too wild. See if you have enough pastels that sort of blend together to create a background like that. That might be fun to try. And again, these are homework assignments. They're good practice. You actually are working on a project where you've got some pretty detailed things you're going to be working on. So, you're gaining some confidence and getting used to using your markers and your pencils. That's what the homework is about. Thank you.